Shalom, Brother Rudy. Oh damn. Thank you, Rudy. I was on mute. No, I was just talking about, how, you got guys like, Lion Hebrew that likes to come on people's pages, you know what I'm saying, and stalk people. But at the end of the day, we don't go on their pages and, and stalk them and, say, oh, what's up? Well, you don't see me going there on Fopi or any of these little clowns' pages. At the end of the day, just like I always told you, they're just envious. They can't prove anything with the scriptures. And that's something that, Northern Kingdom said that was pretty powerful in his class um, that he did yesterday. And that's the reason why I'm doing the video today is to address Genesis 49 and debunking, the One West, because I saw that Hassad jumped on, and I also saw a dude jump on with Northern Kingdom prophets, and trying to say how the Haitians could be Levites. And what Northern Kingdom said was pretty powerful. He says, you know what? If you can't prove it, then don't teach it. Like basically just don't teach it. And that's just facts. And this is why I never taught none of that nonsense, the 12 tribe chart. This is why I've always been against teaching against tribalism. I believe that that job belongs to Christ to sort everything out. It's not up to us. You know what I'm saying? Um, I think that the way that the camps break down Genesis 49 is just very disingenuous, and especially the Zebulon part. Like I'm thoroughly gonna like debunk that Zebulon by the haven of ships and all that nonsense that these guys talk about. What people have to understand is that most of these things that happen in Genesis, well, what Jacob was talking to his sons in Genesis 49, either was fulfilled in the time of Moses when they went into the land, just before they went into the land, or even after they went into the land. And also, some of it has to do with Christ, right? And I'll break all that stuff down. But the thing is that like 80, 90% of this stuff was already fulfilled in the scripture. You know what I'm saying? So this whole thing that these camps are trying to teach you just doesn't make sense. Like they'll try to tell you that the reason why that, well, after I break it down, they're gonna have to say, well, it's like a double prophecy. You know how they usually come up with these double prophecies, right? How they happen another time. But the thing is this, and this is what my contention has always been with One West and how they break down their Genesis 49. Where is their Genesis 49 breakdown for the Eastern Hemisphere? You know what I'm saying? They'll tell you and bring up arguments like this. Oh, well, the majority of Israel's in the Western Hemisphere, because of the book of Jeremiah, they were pressed together and came out of the land of the north. Well, first of all, America is not north of the land of Israel, according to what they believe. You know what I'm saying? So they would have to make that make sense, unless they're flat earthers. Because I showed that years ago and proved how that it would make sense according to the flat earth that the land of the north would be the Americas. Because anybody can look it up right now on Google. When you look up the flat earth, the land that's directly north, going the north, the more north that you can ever go, right? Lands you right there into North America, right? Now that's according to the flat earth. But I don't believe those brothers believe that. So since they don't believe that, how would the land of the north be North America when that is not the direction from the land of Israel? But also that could be argued because, like I said, many people don't believe that that's actually the land of Israel, which I even did a little class about that, right? But you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I believe that that these guys are being just deceitful about how they're breaking it down, because like I said, majority of this has been fulfilled, and I'm going to show you. Because even like I said, even like in the beginning of the verse of what is it 3 and 4 about Simeon, right? Like I said before, I get break it down real quick. But even from the beginning, you should know that this already took place. And it baffles my mind that when people read these things that they don't get it. You know what I'm saying? And this is why I keep telling you, this is how, when you can decipher between who's actually reading these scriptures and who's not reading these scriptures. Just like how remember you brothers and sisters about how I broke down what is it my third like 3 lives ago about was Cornelius a Gentile? Because I'm gonna be all honest. Tonight I was gonna do the part 2 to this to that class. It was gonna be titled "Was Ruth a Gentile?" and then breaking down, like I said, part 2 for that class. But once I heard Northern Kingdom's video yesterday, that he did yesterday, it it kind of put the spirit on me to actually drop this one real quick first because that needs to be tackled. You know what I'm saying? Because first and foremost, that's the way these guys are breaking Genesis 49 and stuff like that has nothing to do with the Gospels, man. The Gospels tell you who's going to wake you up. It says it's going to be who, people. It says it's going to be the Most High who's going to wake you up to you being a child of God. It's not going to be a guy on the street corner with a holding up a sign talking about, look, 12 tribe chart. Either you're from Puerto Rican. First of all, that's just nonsense. And this is the reason. And again, 4 years ago, I told you guys the reason why. And this is why I'm going to bring out some books to prove that stance once we get to it. I got a few books to pull out because the reason why I thoroughly don't believe in the 12 tribe chart is because even in the time of when the Spaniards and Portuguese was over here in the 14, 15, 1600s, many of our ancestors were getting scattered all throughout North, Central, and South America, and even to Spain and North Africa, right? So we were just scattering us all throughout the lands. So even with my oral tradition, right? Because like I said, I believe that I'm Arawak or Taino, right? So-called Taino, because of what my mothers and grandfathers have told me, right? Through word of mouth. But what I found funny is once I started reading these books and reading more about history, about what the Spaniards were doing to our people, it made me start thinking, but wait a minute, maybe my family didn't originate from the islands. Maybe they probably originated somewhere in South America or maybe in Central America. It's possible because, like I said, we're going to read you in the book of Bartolom de las Casas, you know what I'm saying, eyewitness account of them shipping us around to all these different provinces, you know what I'm saying? So maybe many people, and this is what, no shot to the brother Daniel, but he believes that he's a Mexica, right? Or a Mexican, right? But the brother took a DNA test and it revealed that I believe he's like 80% Peruvian, right? From Peru. Now, my answer to that brother would be is, well, even though you and your ancestors for the past 2, 3, whatever 5 generations have been in Mexico, thinking that you guys are Mexican, maybe you guys, well, according to DNA, what happened? You were actually came from Peru. So actually, your ancestors were actually came from Peru. Just like the books talk about how they were scattered people from South America into Central America and through the islands and all like that. That's exactly what happened. And that brother's a prime example and proof of what we read about the history. So this is one of the main reasons why that 12 tribe chart of how they break Genesis 49 is just trash, right? But hold on. I'm going to show you before I get into the scriptures. Like I said, we're going to read Genesis 49 and break it down. But before that, let's address a few other points. Right, and this is how you know that their 12 tribe chart is trash, right? And then we got this hater, Lion Hebrew, you know what I'm saying? It's like these guys are just obsessed with us, bro. Like we don't go to their platforms disrespecting them, but they're always stalking us. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. Just grow some balls, bro. Now, anybody who knows what this is, right? Because I know I'm very sure you're gonna have. Okay. I'm very sure you can have a few One West tribe pushers that are gonna watch this, right? See, and it's funny, right? Hey, JC, Let me ask you a question. What was the name of Jake of one of Judah's sons? Wasn't it Perez? So when you go around calling people tacos and stuff like that, what does Perez sound like to you? Does Perez sound like an African name to you, JC? You're a clown, man. You guys are clouds. You guys are not lions. You guys cannot defend your weak doctrine if your life depended on it, man. This is why you guys stalk us, trying to be a thorn on our side, just like the scripture says how Canaan will be like a thorn on our side. All you guys are doing is proving Bible prophecy. That's all you're doing. We don't need to stalk you. We don't need to press you. We don't need to go to your weak channels and try to tell you that you're a Canaanite. Your own people tell you that you're Canaanites. Your own people tell you that you're not Israelites. You guys have so much more on your plate than to be dealing with little old Vega. Go deal with Garfield. Go deal with Sinetta. Go deal with all these other channels, the Moors, all of them. Go deal with them. Go deal with the black Muslims. Go deal with them, bro. You have hundreds and hundreds of thousands or even millions of your people going against you. But you're here trying to talk crap to so-called Hispanics and natives. You know? You guys are crybabies. Nobody believes you're Israel. Well, it's funny that there's religions that have millions of followers, up to like what, 15 million followers of the Mormons that believe that so-called natives are the Israelites, not you Africans. But you guys have the audacity. What other nation started a religion saying that, oh, the so-called Negro man is the children of God? There is none. You know why? Because it wasn't ordained by the Most High. What you guys have is a delusion that started off in America. But in Central and South America, we've been pushing that we've been Israel longer than you. The reasons where you even camp members got your Yahwehs and Yahweh Shais and all that name is from our people. And we've proven this. The books have exposed you guys, man. The history has exposed you. Where are all your Hebrew artifacts that are in West and South Africa where you so-called Negroes came from? Where are all the evidence? Where is it? You guys have none. While we have hundreds of artifacts over here in the Americas. You guys are clown shoes. You know what I'm saying? That's hilarious that you say this, that we don't know who our daddy is. Isn't that something that people say about your people? Like, I don't get it. That doesn't even make any sense. He says, Negro only, bro, not Cesar Chavez. Well, there you go. Negro only, bro, not Cesar Chavez. So again, Lion Hebrew, Judah's son was named Perez. Perez. You from a Perez, bro? Hey? Huh, Holmes? Huh? You from Perez, bro? You descend from somebody named Perez, bro? You know what's funny? That even in the books like in Numbers and and all throughout the Torah, Israel is known to be what? It says the chiefs. It says the chiefs of my tribe and the chiefs of my people and the chief. Who else goes by who uses those terms even to this day? So-called natives. That's a native trait, just like the fringes and stuff like that. All that's you guys are biting off of our culture and then have the audacity to talk about that y'all are the real people of the book, bro. It's hilarious. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. He says, "Hey, the 12 tribe chart has been debunked." Exactly. Everybody knows the 12 tribe chart is trash. Everybody knows that. And right now, I'm about to expose it. You know what I'm saying? And again, you guys can learn how to expose it even more. But he says 12 tribe chart has been debunked, but that don't mean all the 12 tribes is black. First of all, the reason why these brothers hate the 12 tribe chart is because it shows them being the minority in the nation of Israel, and they have a problem with that. So now they just try to stop being the minority and want to be the majority and want to be all right. But that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous thing. I already proved over and over how the Israelites were light-skinned people, not a dark-skinned. They turned dark when mixing with the Hamites and other beasts of the field and stuff like that. He says, the decree has been written. King David is our king, and we are special children of the Most High. So what you want? The time has come to quarantine. That's freaking funny, because it's funny that King David has straight hair, not so-called. But that's the whole point. He's from the tribe of Judah. I don't see black men having straight hair. I don't see Negro men known for being straight-haired men. When King David's hair was compared to a goat's hair, proved that many of times. Also, King Solomon's hair was said to be curly. And it says his face, his countenance was as white as the mountains of Lebanon, right? You guys are clown shoes with this stuff, man. Trust me, we can be carnal with the scriptures, and it's not gonna be a good look for that. You know what I'm saying? But you guys always want to bring race and skin color into the scriptures, and you guys it's just hilarious with it. At the end of the day, it's not a white man's book, it's not a black man's book, it's the red man's book, and everybody knows who the red man is. And it's funny that everybody just seems to forget. There's sports teams. There's, all these type of things that let you and remind you of who the red people are. And there certainly ain't no African Americans. There certainly ain't no damn white man. The Negro mans do not even fit half the curses. JC, would you like to come on for a cordial dialogue? And I can show you and prove to you how you don't fit. I can easily tell you curses in Deuteronomy 28 that you don't fit, that I know you can't answer. I know for a fact that you can't answer it. You know what I'm saying? I proved it over and over again. King David had goat's hair. How are you gonna get around that? He was called ruddy. Ruddy means to be a light skin, bro. Just like Adam. Just like he was described as the same ruddy as Esau, David, Solomon. You know? It is what it is, bro. But just because you're a so-called Negro doesn't mean you can't be Israel, because I do know that there are Negro-looking Israelites, white-looking Israelites, Asian-looking Israelites, but just in the minority. And even when you go back to the oldest archaeology of what the Israelites look like, I'm sorry to say, brother, but they look more like the so-called Hispanic and natives of this land, and gypsies, because that's who the real people of the book are. Now, I know that this is something that your congregation or the internet doesn't teach. But again, Israel is not the only cursed nation according to the Bible. The Egyptians were cursed. The Canaanites were cursed. The Israelites weren't the only people to lose their identity according to the scriptures. You see that in the book of Isaiah, that the Chaldeans they lost their identity. Israel was the only nation that had yokes of iron and chains and to be brought into slavery with chains and iron on their neck. According to the book of Jeremiah, many, many nations had yokes of iron on their neck under the Babylonian king. You know what I'm saying, brother? Everything I could pull scripturally about any of your little arguments is already in the scripture. It has nothing to do with the transatlantic slave trade, has nothing to do with Israel. I know that's just a false doctrine that you brothers learned, because again, I don't know if you believe in the New Testament, but if you do, then you will be calling Christ a liar. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, the Israelites were already scattered in all nations in ancient times. Not in 1619. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but there's no scripture or prophecy that said that the Israelites will come back from the scattering, go into West Africa, to then be scattered again. There is no such book, chapter, and verse that states such nonsense. You know what I'm saying? The Israelites were already scattered in all nations 2,000, even more plus years ago. They never came back as a nation together in the land of Israel or to any other land. To say something different is called the prophets, and it's to call Christ a liar. Okay? The scattering of the Africans, the West Africans that came over here from the 1600s was the fulfillment of Genesis chapter 9, of Canaan serving all nations as the lowest of all slaves. Because when you read Genesis chapter 9, it tells you how Canaan was cursed to serve all the people of Ham, Japheth, and Shem. Now, again, what African nation, what Hamitic African nation served all nations? And also, this, I want you to really think about this when you read in the book of Ezekiel 28 and when you read in Deuteronomy 28, the difference of Israel and the difference of the Canaanites is that in Deuteronomy 28, the curse is dealing with one nation that was going to do this to you in your land and do all this stuff to you. This only fits the Native Americans, us natives over here. Like so-called us Tainos or Arawak were only taken over by one nation, the so-called Spaniards. The French didn't certainly take us over. The Portuguese didn't take us over. The Englishmen didn't take us over. No, they didn't. We were only taken by one nation and one nation only. So actually, we fit the curses to a T. While in the book of Ezekiel 28 talks about how the Canaanites will be taken into slavery by multiple nations. That's exactly what happened with the so-called West Africans. They were taken over by not only just other Africans that gathered them up to sell them, not only to the Arabs, which would be multiple nations, but also to the Europeans, French, Portuguese, all that, and dealt with multiple nations. So Deuteronomy mentions one nation that's going to do this to you. Ezekiel 28 talks about the Canaanites and how multiple nations will do this to you. Who fits what? You know what I'm saying? Who fits what? Now, to answer your question, Matthew, you said, how did Christ get to Arzareth? Brother, you can watch my videos where I'll show many of prophecies of our ancestors prophesying about Christ over here. That's a tiring argument. We have many prophecies. Matter of fact, I'll even pull you a book of a prophecy about Christ. Since you're here and since you claim to be interested, hold on. Now, no, I don't need a Mormon book. This is from our chiefs, right? This is a book written by an Arawak or Taino, so-called Puerto Rican, right? His name is Chief Riverwind of the Jaguar tribe, right? Now, he wrote this book, what the old ones say. And in this book, talks about how he went to powwows and how he had conversations with elders from like the Choctaw, Chickasaw, Lakota, and all these different tribes. And in their tribes, they all are stories, all collaborate with the Bible. And they don't, and a lot of them didn't even know it, but he realized it when they were telling the stories. The one story in this book is by a Lakota elder and talks about the origins of their sun dance. Now, when you look at the origins of the sun dance, it's actually dedicated to the bright morning star, which is Christ. And in this book, it tells about a beautiful story about how a chief elder, hundreds of years ago, went up to a mountain and prayed to the Most High and fasted for like 4 or 5 nights for his people who were dying and suffering, and how an angel came down and told them how a savior would be coming through to save their people. Okay, and when he asked him who was the savior and the name of the savior, the angel told him that his name is the bright and morning star. Don't forget his name. Now, again, you can read many prophecies of our ancestors in plenty of our books, and we have plenty of videos that I've shown in my classes. You can watch it for yourself. So you can hate on you all you want, but it's something that you guys can never take away. You guys can never do what we can do. Never. You know what I'm saying? We have Jewish men who have written books about how we are Israelites. We have Christians who have written books who will say that we are Israelites. Nobody's doing that for y'all because y'all don't fit it at all. He says there's no historical documentation of eyewitness of pale skin. I already showed you in the King of Solomon. I already showed you in the Book of Solomon's. Book of Solomon's 1 and 5 tells you that the Israelites were light-skinned people. Why? Because why would the woman tell this dark-skinned nation that you guys claim the Israelites were dark? Why would she say, don't stare at me because I'm black if the Israelites were black? You know why? Because the Israelites weren't black. They were a light-skinned people. This is why when you go back to the oldest depictions of what the Israelites looks like at the Durah synagogue, all you're going to see is light-skinned Israelites that look just like me, that look just like many of my brothers and sisters, and stuff like that, right? He says you're out of context, but you guys are out of your mind. That's what the whole point is. You guys are out of your mind. This is why you guys can't hit that link and prove your stance. Because I guarantee you, if I let y'all on, I guarantee you I will bring up whatever scripture you want. I'll pull it up on the screen. We can break it down, and you guys will not like the end result. Without your KJV, well, even with your KJV, I will destroy you. Because with your KJV, I'm going to show you how it's nothing but the Americas and how you can't get around none of that stuff. But what I would love to do is get you off your KJV. And once you're off your KJV, it's even worse for you. Because when I start getting to the Septuagint, the older translations by 2,000 years older than your weak shit, all your color scriptures, all your weak points go down the toilet. He says, where are the camels if America is Arzareth? Camels. Where does it say that Arzareth had camels, man? I swear, man. These guys be making up some stuff, man. Where does it say in 2nd Ezra 13 about some camels, man? Go ahead, bro. Pull the verse, man. I'll bring it up right now. I have the Apocrypha right here. Pull the verse. Now you say you can stop lying. You're the one lying. Well, I'm over here. I'm asking you to pull it up. You said that, right? Let me ask you a question. When you guys started cultivating corn in Africa? According to your KJV, it says that the Most High gave us the land of milk and honey, right? The land of corn and wine. Where's the corn in Africa? Please show me some kind of science or some kind of article showing that you guys had corn. The last I checked, Africa started cultivating corn in the mid 1600s. Well, after you guys were, already slaves going back and forth, and you have the Europeans going back and forth from Africa to, the Americas. That's when you guys started cultivating corn. But what does that have to do with you guys? Huh? What does corn have to do with you guys? Exactly, Lex. I know. That's what I'm saying, brother. These guys hurt themselves when they keep speaking, man. Right? Hey, Matthew, according to your KJV in Genesis chapter, let's go read it. Let's go read it together, right? According to your KJV, so you guys are hilarious. All right, let's go to Genesis chapter 6. All right. Get more than that. Get more. Mm-hmm. All right, because y'all love your KJV, right? Let's read it. Let's zoom in. Let's all read together. Let's all read together. Is it on the screen? Yeah, let's take this thing, right? Exactly. I said the Americas. Exactly, Lex. Uh, so this is Genesis 6. So let's go down to the verse, right? Hey, Matthew, explain it. Answer me this, bro. This is Genesis 6 and 13. It says, and God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make thee an ark of gopher's wood. Room shalt thou make an ark, and shall pitch it within and without with pitch. Now again, Matthew, I'm going to keep asking the same question. Where is gopher's wood, sir? Where is gopher's wood and where is it made from? Huh? JC, you guys love to keep talking. Answer my question. Where does gopher's wood grow? I'm going to tell you right now, it grows in one place and one place only. Let's look it up. I'm telling you, I'm going to make y'all put your KJV down, man.
School tomorrow. Baby, take off your shoes.
I'm going to share the screen.
Take off your shoes.
Right? It says, where does gopher's wood, right? Native, right? Commonly known as Florida nutmeg, Florida terreg gopher's wood, strikingly yew, or stinking cedar, although not true yew or cedar, is very rare and endangered conifer in the yew family found in the southern eastern United States at the state bordering region of northern Florida and southern western. You see that, people? Oh man, it's not. Even, let me make it bigger. My fault. I didn't even have it bigger so you can read along. That's basically where I found, right? So again, it's a family found in southeastern United States, borderline from the region of northern Florida and southwestern people. That's where gopher's wood comes from. Now, again, what was Noah? So when you guys want to talk about, oh, Noah was a black man and he was this and that. No, according to your KJV, Noah was a Native American, bro. I don't know what y'all talking about. I don't know what y'all smoking. He said, "Look up woolly goat hair, fool, not European hair." Again, JC, what's the name? What's the name of the indigenous sheep in the Middle East, especially in the land of Israel? What's the name of it? Type it in right now. So you don't know what you speak about, man. And this is what's the problem with your cult that these guys have put you in. Exactly, Malak. You don't see none of these clowns dealing with the Moors, the black Muslims, all these stuff. Sinetta, Garfield. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, look at them. These guys are losers, bro. These guys are losers. They're dealing with little old Vega. Who am I? I'm nobody. But yet you have hundreds of thousands of people who talk about you guys daily, talk about of your own people who tell you guys that you're not Israelites. But you guys don't go on Sinettas. You guys don't mess with the Moors. You guys don't mess with Garfield. You guys don't mess with all these other people. Exactly. Now he says, "You're the head. Come on, bro. If you was ahead of something, if you were a real lion like I am, you would have been hit the link already, bro, to preach your doctrine and show everybody how what I'm saying is false. If I'm saying whatever I'm saying is false, you have a chance to debunk me. But I guarantee you, you're not gonna like what's gonna happen, bro, when I start bringing out these scriptures." He says, "If you believe that Arzareth is America, then you're no different than One West. What make it make sense?" Oh, hey, Joe Mio. Who says I believe that Arzareth is the Americas? America is just one continent. You have two continents over here. You have North America, you have South America. Those are two complete different continents. And according to what is the second Esdras, I don't believe that Arzareth is a whole continent. I believe Arzareth has something to do with the islands. If you want to be honest with me, if that's just my opinion, because again, it doesn't really say it scripturally. That's just where I believe it was actually at, and which actually makes sense once. Like I said, I've done classes on it. I can prove it. How a Phoenician ship came from the sailing routes. All right. I'll hit the link. He says, put the link up. All right. Even though I already dropped the link like 3 or 4 times. But even according to the say even according to like later books, like even like the Book of Mormon, even like the brother Louis that comes on here, and according to the Waspy Bible, um, they even teach you that the Americas is like the second promised land. And not even that, even according to the scriptures, it tells you, that we would be given another land. You know what I'm saying? But again, you guys just don't read the scriptures. You guys don't know these things. Again, I don't need Second Ezra 13 to prove how we got over here on ships, how we got over here to the Americas. That's all in the Torah and according to the prophets. Shalom, Malak.
Shalom, man. Let's see if that brother gonna hit the link. I thought the brother was gonna hit the link. Come on, defend his stance.
That's what he claimed he was gonna do.
We don't have a bag in there.
But we don't know. Okay, Google Arzareth River. So just because you can show something on a map makes it true. So I can show you a map right now of locations of Utah, naming all the locations on the map of biblical locations. Do you believe that Utah is all biblical locations just because the map says so? Make it make sense scripturally. And this is what they always do. This is why I keep telling you, these people hate the Bible, bro. They hate the scriptures.
Hey, you know what's crazy? When you check out the DNA, 47% of African Americans, they got O positive. They don't got the E1B1A. So it's a big distinction amongst them. You know what I'm saying? But they just see color, and they think they all just one person. One people, and they all came from West Africa. It's crazy, and this is what brought me into debating these brothers, man. Because I used to see all the time how they used to debate the natives and tell the natives, no, you ain't Israel, misquote the scriptures like crazy. You know what I'm saying? And that used to get me heated, man. And that's why I used to go against the Negro only, and that, but you know but me going against them, yeah, I had other brothers who believed it be Israel, and what I'm saying, they feeling some type of way because we getting at these brothers because we trying to defend ourselves, and then what I'm saying, then you make yourself a target for every person who's color. That's crazy. When that concept of just color, that ain't even existed before. You know, it was many colors amongst the nation, and people wasn't going off just by the colorism.
Like I said, they're just demons with Bibles, bro. That's all it is. They're trying to push their Pan African stuff on it. It's like if you want to push that Africa stuff, bro, there's movements for it, bro. I'm about to tell you right now, the scriptures ain't for it. You ain't gonna like it. That's what I'm saying. You ain't gonna like it. So?
When I jumped on to see the brother's gonna jump on. Matthew, which one of y'all brothers gonna jump on before we can take out these history books? We got them right here. We got them right here. History books, all type of books. I thought y'all brothers was gonna jump on. They always trying to criticize the natives,
And
that
it's
be getting
funny
me
that
crazy, man.
and you notice that none of them is answering the scripture I just pulled out in Genesis 6 about the Gopher's wood. No one, they're JC quiet up real quick.
Well, that's what they do, man. I don't like I said before. I don't believe all Israel, bro. I just test them by the spirit. Brothers who out there and proclaiming that the natives are, then I can respect them more. You know what I'm saying? But this is ridiculous, bro. I'm telling you, yo. This like
Yeah.
and when the Messiah come, that is they people it go vice versa too. You know what I'm saying? We have to be careful as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna jump off. All right.
All right. So, you know what I'm saying? This is what you call a table of nations of one West. All right. Then we're going to get into Genesis 49 after this. Let me make it bigger. All right. That's big enough. Yeah. That's good. In fact, I'm taking myself out. Right. Now, this is their table of nations, right? Right. This is their table of nations, one West, right? They'll tell you that the white man is Edom, correct, people? That will be a Shemite, right? They have Elam, right, which is what you call India, which is East Indians, right? Then they teach you how the Arabs are is Ishmael, right? Then they'll teach you how the Chinese are Moab and how the Japanese are Ammon, right? Now, what I want you guys to notice is that according to their own table of nations, Why don't you Negroes look like any Shemites whatsoever? You see? Now, I've seen posts in the past of Negroites crying to One West. Why do you let Jose Vega and them call us Canaanites and you let them talk about us? Why don't you say nothing to them? Where? You know why? Because One West can't go against me. That's why. One West can't go against me because they know that I'm going to use their own doctrine to expose them, just like I'm doing it right here. I already exposed this over like 4 or 5 years ago. This is why they have a no contact order on me. But yet they can have conversations with people like Vocab Malone, Sinetta, Garfield, all these people who they claim are the devil. All these guys are the devil. Vocab is the devil. Mike Pereira and them, they're the devil. Oh, yeah, but you guys can have conversations with the devil, but you guys can't have a conversation with your brother? Why is it, people? Because they know that I've already exposed their doctrine. And I'm going to keep exposing it. This is their table of nations, not my table of nations, not Fopi's table of nations, not any of these other people's table of nations. It's their table of nations. They teach you that Esau is the white man. They teach you that the Arabs are Ishmael. They teach you that Moab and Ammon are the Asians, Chinese and Japanese. They teach you that Elam is the East Indian. Well, why is it that we natives and Hispanic look like all the Shemites that we just mentioned, but you so-called Negroes don't look like any of them? They can't get around that stuff. This is why you guys have to try to use scripture to make Israelites look like Hamites. And sometimes you guys use the whole timeline completely off and make yourself look retarded. Oh, well, Christ, he hid in Egypt. Paul was mistaken for an Egyptian. Not knowing that at that time period, the Egyptians were, who was ruling the land of Egypt at that time? The damn Romans. And before them were who? The Greeks. So let me get this straight. Yeah, Egypt and North Africa being controlled by white people for over 400 years. Oh, what does that remind you of? The Americas, right? Oh, we're in North America. Who's the majority right now in the Americas? The so-called European man. Oh, so you don't think that how it was today wasn't like how it was in the time of Egypt when the Greeks and Romans were ruling North Africa? Y'all can't put two and two together. So when you guys make weak arguments about, oh, Christ hid in Egypt or Paul was taken for a woman, all you're saying is that at that time period that they hid amongst other white people. The majority was white people ruling that land because Africans didn't rule that land for more than that. Because who was before the Greeks, right? Hold on. We had the Romans, then we had the Greeks, then we had, and then go back further, we had the Persians for like 230 years, I believe. And they're like the last African or so-called Kushite nation to be ruling Africa was around 750 BC. 800 years before Christ or Paul, 800 years before Christ and Paul went to a location where so-called blacks were ruling. You guys don't make no type of sense when you guys talk. No history, no world history when you guys, before you guys speak. You guys make yourself look retarded all the time. Oh, when 7 AD hit, the Jews that were in the land, they fled into Africa. Why would they do that? The Romans were in Africa. The Romans were ruling all of North Africa. What sense would it be to be running away from to run away from Romans to run into Romans? What kind of sense is that? You're running from them, but then you're running towards another group of Romans that are all in North Africa. That doesn't even make any type of sense. All of your arguments, the way you guys think is not logical. You guys can't even think logically sometimes. It doesn't make sense. And this is why they stopped commenting. You don't see Matthew and them commenting anymore, do you guys? Because they hurt right now. They're like, damn, well, what Jose's saying is facts. They know it. Ran those guys off. Well, Mr. Drop the link, right? Let's go back to it. Let's go see what he said, right? Hold on. Let's go right here. He was all brave a minute ago, right? Where is it? Where is it? Where you say drop the link? Like he was brave, like he was about to hit the link or something. Right? And Matthew ran away real quick. Where is it? Here it is. I dropped the link. I already dropped the link like 3 times for you. So who's really the chump? Look, I'm going to do it one more time. Let's find out who the real chump is. Matthew. Okay. You asked for it. I dropped it. Been dropping it. Where you at? Yeah, I would have ran too, bro. I would have ran too. But let's get into the lesson since this cowards don't want none of that smoke. Right, let's get into the book of Genesis 49 now.
Yeah, I want red nails.
It's going to be hard to try.
Okay. I will.
And let's show a lot of this fulfillment happening, right? Genesis 49. All right. And it says, and Jacob called it unto his son and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you the which shall befall you in the last days, right? Let me take this little comment down so we all can read together. Right? So let's start breaking this chapter down, right? And it says, gather yourselves together and hear, you sons of Jacob, hearken unto Israel your father. Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might and my beginning of my strength, and excellency of dignity, and the excellency of power. Unstable as water, thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed, then defouledest thou it. He went up to my couch. Now, again, what is going on right here, right? When it says, Reuben, thou art my firstborn. Now, we all know, according to scriptures, the firstborn is the one who's supposed to get everything, you know what I'm saying? The inheritance, of the firstborn. But it was forfeited. Why was it forfeited? Because of his immorality of what Reuben did to his father. And if anybody forgot, what did Reuben do to his father, people? That was immoral, right? Does anybody know? What did Reuben do? That's why it says like this, right? It says when Reuben's, his birthright was basically divided, right? You know how the firstborn, is usually, they usually get the blessings, right? Either, the priesthood or authority or kingship. How you would say, all those good stuff. You know what I'm talking about, right? Now, how did he lose it? When his father said that by him defiling it, right? When he says that, you were unstable in the water and you shall not excel because of what he did in his father's bed. What did he do, people, to defile it? Because again, how is this future prophecy when right now, basically, their father is bringing up an instance of something that actually took place? Right? When did this happen, people? Let's find out. Let's go into the book of Genesis 35, right? Genesis 35. Because again, people, you guys have been fooled if you guys think that this is talking about a lot of this stuff, talking about future. A lot of this stuff is talking about things that happened then, that was going to happen, that was filled in the time of Moses and then through Christ. Not no 1600s and all the nonsense that these guys are talking about. Right? So we're in Genesis 35. We're going to go to verse 21, 22, right? The sons of Israel. Now let's read. Genesis 35 says, the son of Leah, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Simeon and Levi, and Judah and Issachar and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin, and the sons of Rachel's handmaids, Dan and Naphtali. Right? Hold on for a second. All right, verse 26. And the sons of Zebulun, Leah's handmaid, Gad and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob, which were born unto him of Pandaram. And Jacob came unto Isaac, his father, unto Mimrim, unto the city of Arah, which is Hebron, which Abraham and Isaac sojourned. And in the days of Isaac was 104 four scores. Hold on, did I miss it? My fault. I started a verse too early. Verse 22. And it came to pass when Israel went into the land, right, behind his back, look what Reuben did, people, that Reuben went and laid with Baha, his father's concubine. And Israel heard it. See? Right there. So what we see right here, people, is basically Israel or Jacob, his father, addressing him in the book of Genesis, actually in Genesis 49. Telling him, hey, you were my firstborn. You were supposed to get this, and that. But because of your immorality, right? Now you ain't gonna get nothing. Your whole progeny is basically defiled because of this act that you did to me. Right? So we see the fulfillment of it right here, people. So it's not really a future prophecy. It's basically right here, right now. It's kind of dealing with something that actually happened to between him and his son. Right? Let's go back to Genesis 49. All right, we're at verse 3. It says, right? And it says, Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity and excellency of power, right? Because he was, that's exactly what a firstborn is supposed to get, right? The inheritance, right? But because of unstable as water, thou shalt not excel. Meaning you will not get any of this, right? Because thou winnest unto your father's bed, and defiled thou it. And he went out into my couch. So again, people, what the hell does this have to do with the 12 tribes chart? Not a damn thing. We all know what it has to do with. About the time when Simeon tried him by sleeping with his concubine, one of his concubines. And he's basically, addressing it. Right? Now, let's deal with Simeon and Levi. This is going to be interesting, right? It says, Simeon and Levi are brethren. Instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. And I want that to be clear. When it says their habitations, meaning in the land of Israel. O my soul, come now thou into thy secret, into their assembly, my honor. Be now thy united. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dig down a wall. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. Not in America, not in some foreign land, but where were they going to be scattered? In Israel. Now we're going to read the fulfillments of these things happening throughout the scripture, right? Let's deal with the first part, right? Where it talks about the instruments of cruelty, right? What says Simeon and Levi are brothers. Instruments of cruelty were in their dwelling place, right? That my soul may enter not their counsel. Now let me understand this right here with what is exactly what Jacob is talking about. people, what is he talking about? Do you remember? Let's read it. Let's read about this account in the book of Genesis. Genesis 34. Again, people, this stuff was all fulfilled either at the time that Jacob's either addressing them or something that's happened between them, or in the time of Moses, which you read in Deuteronomy 33, which we're going to break down in a little bit. I'm not getting into too much details because I have to work early tomorrow. We're in Genesis 34. We'll start at verse 25, right? And then we'll read 26 because it's also going to break down him complaining. All right, we'll start at verse 23. It says, shall not their cattle and their substance, this is Genesis 34 and 23, shall not their cattle and their substance and every beast of theirs be ours? Only let us consent unto them, and they will dwell with us. And unto Hamor and unto Shemek and his sons hearkened all that went up into the gate of his city, and every male was circumcised, all that went out into the gate into the city. And it came to pass on the third day that when they were sore, that the two men of the sons of Jacob, Simeon and Levi, Dinah's brethren, took each male his sword and came upon the city boldly and slew all the males. And they slew Hamor and Shemek and his sons with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shemek's house and went out. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain and spoiled the city, because they have defiled their sister. So again, people, when was this fulfilled according to Genesis 49? Genesis 34, people. The instruments that were on the hands of Levi and Simeon. What was Jacob talking about? The time when Levi and Simeon went out and my fault, not Simeon. Levi, hold on, my fault. It is Simeon. Let's read back.
Stop doing that. She's sick. Jenny is sick.
Simeon and Levi went out to get revenge for the Hamites who raped their sister Dinah. Because basically that's what this chapter is about their sisters being raped, and how Levi and Simeon came out with this plan to have all of them circumcise themselves to basically make up for the rape. But they used it for a tactic to basically kill all the men for their raping them, right? So in Genesis 49 says it, right, that the instruments of cruelty was in their hands and in their dwelling places. But it says this, right? Let not my soul enter their counsel. Why? Because he had a problem with it. Because Jacob did have a problem with it. When you go into verse 30, watch this, people. It explains it, people. This is, I'm telling you, this is it's crazy, right? And Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, ye have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanites and the Perizzites. I being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house. And they said, should he deal with our sister as a harlot, as with a harlot? But again, we see that what was going on, what Genesis 49 is talking about, the account of Genesis 34 between Simeon and Levi. Exactly. Right? So I'm showing you, brothers and sisters, the fulfillments of this, people. And also when it says, right, cursed be their anger, for it is fierce, right? That was always been the problem between Simeon and Levi, especially with their anger, right? And the Bible talks about, how to control about this ungodly anger and bitterness and wrath and stuff like that, right? And the difference between like a goodly or righteous anger or an ungodly anger or self-will, right? And you read that in the book of Ephesians 4:26, and also in the book of Ephesians 4 and I believe verse 30 or 31 or something like that, right? Where it speaks about that, right? About the difference between godly, righteous, and ungodly anger, which is basically self-will. right? So when it talks about, and also when it says, I will divide them in the land of Jacob and scatter them where, people? In Israel. And when did this take place again, people? This is, again, something that was prophesied through Moses again. And we read about this fulfillment. But the thing is, people, is that there's a difference between I would say the dividing between Simeon and Levi. Simeon, his dividing and scattering was more of a curse, and Levi was more of a blessing, right? And you read about this in the prophecy, right? About the dividing and scattering, about it turning for a curse for Simeon, right? And in the book of Numbers, where it talks about how they became the weakest of all the tribes, right? But in Numbers, in the first book of Numbers, when was it? It talks about how they were like the third largest of all the tribes when they came out of Egypt, right? Matter of fact, what was it? Numbers 1 and 23, right? Let's go to that real quick, right? Just to back it up real quick. Numbers 1 and 23, right? And it says, well, sorry, verse 22. And the number of Simeon, right? And the number of Simeon by their generations of their families, by the house of their fathers, those that went out numbered of them, according to the numbers of their names, by their polls, every man from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war. Those that were numbered of them, even of the tribe of Simeon, were 59,300 of the, right? So even when you, again, brothers and sisters, when you read this chapter, it reminds you and tells you about how numerous they were, right? But then after like 35 years later, right? I would say like over 60% after the wilderness, notice that their numbers went dramatically down according to, what is it? Numbers 26, right? Let's go to it, right? Let's go to Numbers 26. And now let's read their numbers there, right? Numbers 26 and 14. It says, these be the families of the Simeonites, 20 and 20,200. But wait a minute. Why does it say only 22,000 and 200 when we just read in Numbers 1, there were over 500 and something thousand? They just went down about 60% of their numbers by the time they exited the time when they went through the wilderness, right? In the time of the wilderness, they were brought down to real low numbers after being one of the, I believe, like the third largest, right? And right. And remember, it says that they will be scattered them in Israel. Now we know that what else other than the land of that was given to them, right? The Simeonites, where else did they dwell? People, let's find out. Let's find out the fulfillment of, of them being scattered, right? Of Simeon being within these nations, right? Where do we read that in, right? Let's go to the book of Joshua. Joshua 19 and verse 1, right? This is Joshua 19 and 1, and it says territory of Simeon, right? It says this, and the second lot came on forth to Simeon, even for the tribe of the children of Simeon, according to their families, and their inheritance was within the inheritance of the children of where, people? Of Judah. And they had in their inheritance Beersheba, of Shabi, and Malada, right? And other places, right? So again, people, where else does Simeon have an inheritance? Let's read that again. And the second, right? And the second lot, not the first lot, people, the second lot came forth to Simeon, even for the tribe of the children of Simeon, according to their families, and their inheritance was within the inheritance of the children of Judah. So we see where it says that he will divide them and then scatter them in Israel, right? Where did these people go to? And we already know that the Levites didn't get no land inheritance, and they can dwell wherever they want, which would also fit this perfectly about them being divided and scatter them in Israel, right?
The water is bubbling.
And it says this, right? Now let's go to answer the part about,
Did you see the baiting program?
right? He says, and I will divide them, right, in Jacob and scatter them, right? So it was a blessing for Levi, right? Because we know, because of their faithfulness that the tribe showed under the time of the golden calf, right? And how they showed the zeal for Yahweh according to Exodus 32. We all know that story. And we talked about that chapter numerous of times, right?
Oh, and look, the water.
Right, but then, right, and then it says this, right? They received no large tract of land, right? For the Lord was their inheritance, right? Not land, of course. And that we all, like I said, we read that in Joshua 13 and 33, where it says, "But the tribe of Levi, Moses have given no inheritance. The Lord, the God of Israel, is their inheritance, as he has said to them." So we all know that according to Joshua 13:33, that's what was said to them, right? So they both Levi and both Simeon and Levi were scattered, right? But one of them had a blessing, the other one was more of a curse, right? And I would say that would be the difference, right? Now let's go answer verse 4 about Judah, right? Verse 8 and 12, right? Let's go back to Genesis 49. And I'm about to reveal a huge dagger once we get to the about Zebulon. So you brothers and sisters really need to pay attention to that part, because that's thoroughly going to debunk their Genesis 49 argument, right? But let's get into the next one. That's right. So we already answered about Simeon and Levi. Okay, yeah. Verse 8, it says, Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thy enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Judah as a lion whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stood down, he crouches as a lion, and as a old lion, who shall rouse him up? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and until him shall gather of the people be. Binding his fowl onto a vine, and his ass called onto a choice vine, he washed his garment in wine, and his clothes in blood of grapes. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. Right? So let's answer all this stuff. All right, let's go break down Judah now, right? All right, when it says Judah, who though that your brother shall praise, right? But we all know how Judah's character, he was, kind of unfaithful. How he did his brother, and how he had sex with he had sex with her. He had sex with a prostitute. Some things that were kind of things that were kind of foul about about Judah, right? But in this prophecy, right, over Judah, right, about his descendants, we all know that Christ came through the lineage of Judah, right? And he would be the dying patriarch that was speaking about the sons of Judah while speaking, right? And we all know that when it talks about how the Lord sprang out of the tribe of Judah, right? Which we read that also in the New Testament, right? When it says that, but he of whom your brother shall praise, right, as a lion, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver between his feet, right? We all know in the book of Revelations 5 and 5, who called himself, a lion from the tribe of Judah, right? Let's go read that real quick, right? Let's go to the book of Revelations. I believe it's 5 and 5. Yeah, Revelations chapter 5, verse 5. And it says, all right, so this is Revelation chapter 5 and 5. It says, and one of the others said unto him, weep not, behold, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, had prevailed to open up the book and to loose the seventh seal thereof. Again, people, who was the root of David? Christ. And again, what was Christ called? The Lion of the tribe of Judah. So again, Genesis 49, when it talks about, this lion, is actually talking about Christ, right? We all know this, right? Okay. No one's brave enough to hit that link. We still have a lot of these folky clowns. Still, none of them scared to hit. Still scared to hit that link, man. It's hilarious, man. It's hilarious of how much of a coward you guys can be, man. Right? All right, now the point where it says until shot, where it says, my fault, it goes, so whom your brethren shall praise as a lion, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a Lord give it between his feet, or the beast unto his people, until Shiloh comes. We all know this is talk about Christ. It really has nothing to talk about the tribe of Judah, about where they would be at the end time. So again, I don't know why One West uses Genesis 49 and Judah to try to tie themselves as being the Judah, when this is clearly talking about Christ. And the scepter shall not depart from his until Shiloh comes, which we all know is clearly talking about Christ, right? Now let's get to the nitty gritty, right? To verse 5, where it talks, verse 13, where it talks about Zebulon. All right. Let's go back into it. Oh, this is going to be a huge dagger to One West, especially Sakari. Right? And it says, Zebulon shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for a haven of ships, and his borders shall be unto Zidon. Right? Now, this is where the daggers are going to happen, bro. Now, I've seen the lessons of this from One West all the time, especially from Sakari and stuff like that, right? They'll love to bring up this map, right? Let's go to the map of the land of Israel, right? Hold on. All right. Let's look up these maps that these guys love to pull.
I didn't know we're gonna eat food now. Look.
And I'm going to show you how One West and them are so deceptive. And I'm going to show you that after this, they're going to have to call Christ a liar. Okay? They're going to have to call Christ a liar. And it's funny because even in the lesson I did about the Gentiles, and even in that lesson, I secretly brought it out under a lot of you guys' noses. Right? But I noticed this years ago, and now I'm going to expose it. Right? Now, I've seen Sakari do this all the time, and this is how deceitful these people can be. Now, you guys see this map here, right? They'll show you this map, right? One West will show you this map and tell you, look, according to these old biblical maps, right, the land of Zebulon is landlocked. There is no sea around Zebulon, right? And they'll use this map to press this propaganda, right? To try to make proof that according to the 12 tribe chart, oh, that the Zebulon is in South America, according to like some kind of sea coast over there in South America, proving the Zebulon is these so-called whatever people, which is trash doctrine. But I've seen Sakari say this over and over and over again and use this map to prove that, oh, it can't be talking about while they were in the land. Really? Okay. Let me pull a scripture real quick. Hold on. Right? Hold on. I got a scripture for y'all. We're going to go into the New Testament and we're going to go into the book of Matthew. I'm guys going to show you that these guys don't know what they're talking about because you would have to call Christ a liar. Right? To push such foolishness. Hold on, I'm going to get to it. Matthew chapter 4. Right, we're in Matthew chapter 4. And this right here is going to completely debunk their whole stance of Sakari. Because according to Christ, yes, Zebulon and all that stuff were by the sea. Now, this is Matthew's verse 12, and we're going to read down. It says, now, when Jesus had heard that John was cast into prison, he departed into Galilee. And leaving Nazareth, he came and dwelt in Capernaum, which is upon the sea coast in the borders of Zebulon and Naphtali, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, the land of Zebulon and the land of Naphtali by the way of the sea beyond Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. Gosh damn. Hold on, I didn't even share the screen so you can read along with me. My fault. I thought I was sharing the screen. Let's read that again. But brothers and sisters, y'all saw it right there. Completely debunked their Genesis 49 right there. Especially how Sakari them break it down. Let's read that scripture again. All right, so I'll read it together. All right, verse 12 again. Now, when Jesus had heard that John was cast into prison, he departed to Galilee, and leaving Nazareth, he came and dwelt in Capernaum, which is upon the sea coast, in the borders of Zebulun and Naphtali, that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by Isaiah the prophet, saying, the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali by the way of the sea beyond Jordan, the Galilee of the Gentiles. So according to Christ, yes, people, the land of Zebulun was by the sea. So what the hell is Sakari and them being deceitful and showing you these weak-ass maps to deceive you people? It's crazy how they use these things to try to deceive you people, man.
What is this? That was in the
All right, so those are just many arguments to debunk it. I'll save some for more of a debating platform to bring up the more of them. But today, you saw it clearly showed you things that were already fulfilled, even in the time of Christ or the time of Moses and things of that nature. And I clearly showed you how, even according to Christ, how Zebulon did dwell by the sea. So when Sakari and them try to tell you in One West that was actually talking about the Americas, they're lying to you. They're lying on Christ. Right? And with that, I'm going to drop the link. Anybody want to come on? And then this week, I'm going to be dropping a lesson also, a part 2 of who are the Gentiles in the New Testament. And was Ruth an Israelite or a Moabite? Right, which all ties in. And then part 3, I'll probably bring in another example of an individual. But this week, like I said, I'll drop that lesson also. But let me drop the link. I'm about to eat something while somebody wants to come on. Shalom, Louis. I saw your comment up there. Shalom, Asiatic.
My babe.
Just like there's no African Americans living in the Levant. That's just crazy. Craziness. It says, I can't take you any longer. Shalom to my Negro warrior brother. Be safe. Of course you can't take it. The truth hurts, bro. This is why you guys can't. You guys are not the lions, bro. I'm the lion. I'm the one that goes around eating its prey. And that's why y'all see me around. That's why y'all see me on Judah's channel. Y'all see me on Lion's Den. Y'all see me on all these places because I am a lion and I go and I eat my prey. Y'all can never go on our platforms. Y'all scared to hit that link. It's not meant for you. This truth is not meant for you. Let me drop the link. Anybody want to hop on? I'll probably break down the tribe of Dan in a second. Like I said, I'm probably waiting. I'm eating a little bit. See if everyone wants to hop on, say their piece real quick. I'll probably just break down maybe 1 or 2 more tribes according to Genesis 49. Like I said, you already see where it's going. I don't know. I saw that brother on here earlier. He made a comment. I know he doesn't work. I don't believe he works today. I believe he's off on Sundays. He's probably I don't know. He might be busy. You know, we do have lives where we work for our families so they can eat and put food on their plates and make sure that all their stuff is taken care of.
Daddy.
We don't have all day. I know it was the most important day of my life, that my entire future would be affected by the outcome of this day. I was about to blow it.
Daddy took all your flats. I mean, not flats.
Sorry, I wasted your time.
You mean to tell me there's no more tea? I thought I got a tea. But
All right, so I already showed you guys. The last one I just showed you was the fulfillment of Zebulon and stuff like that, and how Christ proved one West to be a liar. All right. I'm gonna break down probably one more tribe, probably the tribe of what? Let's do Dan. We'll do Dan. Right. This is matter of fact, we put it on the screen. Genesis 49. Let me just show it. All right, it's Genesis 49. So it's going to tribe of Dan, right? This is Genesis 46, 49 and 16. It says, Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, an adder in the path that biteth the horse's heel, so that his rider shall fall backwards. I have waited for thy salvation, O Lord. Right? So let's break this down real quick, right? So when it says that Dan shall judge his people and as one of the tribes of Israel, who was one of the biggest judges or brought judgment onto the heathen nations, people? So who is this? Who is this talking about? Huh? Samson. Judges 13 and 2. Did not Samson, who was a Danite, who was raised among the children of Dan, right, to be a savior, right? Dan was a troublesome tribe, right? There, and if you think about it, right, where it talks about how a viper and all this stuff, and how Dan shall be a serpent by the way, right? Wasn't it Dan who introduced idolatry to Israel according to Judges 18 and 30? Didn't Jeroboam set up an idolatrous garden in the land of Dan, according to 1 Kings 12 and 20, verse 26? Didn't the land of Dan become like the center of idol worship among the children of Israel, according to Amos? Huh, people? So when it says Dan shall judge his people, we all know that one of the biggest judges to judge a nation was Samson, right? Who judged the Philistines, right? But when it says Dan shall be a serpent by the way, right? Meaning kind of, deceitful, right? And how were they deceitful? By introducing Israel to idol worship. In fact, their land was like the center core of idol worship. Matter of fact, let's back all those scriptures up, right? Let's back all that up, right? About them introducing, idolatry to Israel, right? Let's go to Judges 18, right? And verse 30, right? Let's read these things. And it says this, and the children of Gad set up graven images, and Jonathan, the son of Gershom, and the son of Manasseh, he and his sons were priests of the tribe of Dan. Until the day of the captivity of the... When did Dan become a priest? It says he and his sons were priests. Okay, my fault. Priests to the tribe of Dan. My fault. Until the day of their captivity of the land. But again, even according to the book of Judges, where were they setting up these graven images at, people? In the land of Dan, according to the book of Judges, right? So they're the ones that are bringing this idolatry into the land of Israel, right? Then we have, what is it? 1 Kings 12. Let's go to that. Let's go to verse 26 through 30. Right? Jeroboam's idolatry. This is verse 25. 1 Kings 12 and 25 says, Then Jeroboam built Shemek in Mount Ephraim and dwelt therein, and went out from thence and built Peniel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, Now shall their kingdom return to the house of David. If this people go up to do sacrifices in the house of the Lord at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of the people turn again unto the Lord, even unto Rehoboam king of Judah, and they shall kill him and go again to Rehoboam king of Judah. Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto them, It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee out upon the land of Israel of Egypt. And he sent the one in Bethel and put and the other put he in Dan. And this thing became a sin, for the people went and worshipped before one, even on to Dan. Right? And then also Amos talks about it. Let's go to Amos 8. And verse 14, right? And it says, They that were sworn in by sin of Samaria, and say, Thy God, O Dan, liveth, and the manner of Beersheba liveth, even they shall fall and never rise up again. Right? So we hear in the more scriptures, even according to the prophet Amos, of people of the land of Dan worshiping other gods in the land of Dan. So we all know that Dan was the one who basically introduced Israel to basically idolatry and stuff like that. Now, some people will say and use this to say that is the, I would say Christians will try to break down this verse and try to make it about the Antichrist, which for anybody who don't know that argument, they most likely would probably use scriptures like Daniel 11 and 37 and like Jeremiah 8 and 16 to try to make it about that, right? But the thing that you guys can use against that, because they'll usually tie it in with the book of Revelations, the 144,000, right? And how, Dan was left out, because they believe that that the Antichrist would come from the loins of Dan, basically. That's how they would break it down using Daniel 11 and Jeremiah 8. So they believe that Dan would come through his line, the Antichrist, and they will tell you, how that's the reason why he's even left out of the listings of the tribes regarding the 144,000 in the book of Revelations, right? But we all know to debunk that claim, you have to bring them to Ezekiel 48, where where Ezekiel is basically doing like a roll call of the Israelites, and we all see that the tribe of Dan is still a part of the 12 tribes. You know what I'm saying? So that would debunk their explanation of how they would break that down, right? Yeah, so that would be the explanation of Dan, how Jacob talked to Dan. All right, I guess that would be the end of this lesson. Anybody want to come in? I'm going to drop the link one more time. If not, I'm going to end the stream. If anybody want to have any questions they want to ask, they can ask away in the comment board, or if they want to come on, you can come on. If not, I'm probably going to end the live. End it early today. I just had to address certain parts of Genesis 49 to prove to you that those things were already fulfilled.
Peace, brother. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Shalom. What's good? How you been?
Yes, peace. Yeah, peace, brother. Hotel. Yeah. Well, the background music is still playing. Yeah.
Hey, what's good, brother? How you doing?
Yeah, what's going on, man? Yeah, peace and Arm and Raw. It's Radio One. Yeah, man, I was listening to the show, man, and yeah, you definitely right on about everything, man. But for those of you who don't know, like, and also I'm just letting you know, recently there was supposed to be a conference of the Kemetic conference taking on and going on in Aswan, Egypt, in February 25th, I believe, and the modern day Egyptians or the Arab Egyptians had it canceled because they said they don't want African Americans coming here trying to steal Egyptian culture. Okay, because they feel that African Americans are trying to steal Egyptian culture, so they canceled it. Okay, and but here's the most funny part about it. Okay, the organization that put together this conference, the people that was involved in it, they are of the Kemetic community, but they don't claim to be of Kemetic ancient Egyptian ancestry and lineage. And they got angry when it was canceled. So it's like, so I'm like, hold on, you don't claim the lineage anyway. Okay, now I wanted to see it take place because okay, it was supposed to be taking place. It's called. You can look it up. It's called. It's led by a brother named Anthony Browder, and it's called the One Africa Conference. It was supposed to take place in Aswan, southern Egypt, where the Black Egyptians are at, where the majority of the Black Egyptians are at, which they call Nubians. Okay. And these people, they're still Black and they look like us. And they were supposed to have a conference there. But you had these these Arab Egyptians, the ones who look like Arabs. They were the ones who started this uproar and had a petition going on to stop this conference. And they threatened to take Anthony Browder's license if he have this conference, because he does archaeological digs in Egypt. And they told him they did not want them to have this conference. And the funny part about that is, and I heard some modern Egyptians have the nerve to say that we're African brothers and we shouldn't let the African Americans get between us, but they don't want you to come down there and embrace your own culture. But that's just to let you know what's going on. Okay, while you Negroes are busy claiming to be Hebrew Israelites, okay, you have the Arabs in Africa trying to steal your real culture. They're trying to steal your real culture. Okay, so we have, oh man, this is crazy. Okay, we have two identity crises going on. You have the Arab Shemites in North Africa claiming to be the Hamites. You have the American Negroes claiming to be the Israelites and the Shemites. What the hell is going on? We have two sides trying to steal the identity. I mean, this is crazy.
Tell me when you're done.
I mean, this is pathetic. And
It's almost like if like the Japanese and Chinese were fighting over about being the original Samoans or something. You know what I'm saying? That's basically what's going on in the so-called Black community, right?
Man, yeah. I mean, this is pitiful, and And the funny part about it is, okay, this is the reason why we got enslaved, because they saw us as the Hamites. Okay, even going back as early as the Arab slave trade, the trans-Saharan slave trade. I got the records. They say that the Negroes to the south, the people to the south, are the descendants of Ham, and they are worthy of being slaves. Okay, so you mean to tell me that, okay, this is the reason why you enslaved us, but now all of a sudden these days, when you find out the greatness of our history, you want to steal it? Now you want to be the Hamite? So if you want to be the Hamite, then that should have been you who got enslaved. I mean, but now this is the reason why we were enslaved. And now you're trying to steal our identity? Makes no sense. And that's why I'm so against this Hebrew Israelite nonsense, because it's so fake, man. You Negroes are so fake.
I tell people that all the time. I was like, you know, I'm part black, you know what I'm saying? And even when I was reading the scriptures, I can clearly see that the Torah itself is an anti-black man's book. It's about the destruction. It's about the destruction of black civilizations. If you notice that Torah, and this is why I say to these One West camps all the time, you know, when they talk about hate the white man, I'm like, well, show me in the Torah where the Most High said not to mix with the white man or to destroy some white Edomite country or something and kill every man, woman, and child. But you don't read that in Torah. What you read in Torah is about the destruction of the Egyptians, which is a black nation. Then you see the destruction of the Canaanite nations, which is a black nation. All you see in Torah is the destruction of black nations in the Torah. Yeah. So I don't get how any person who's supposed to be, who's supposed to be a proud black man is to pick up this book and read these things about how this nation and their God did this stuff to black nations, but then didn't do it to the white nations, but then claim that this is a black man's book. To me, right there, off the rip, I already knew something's fishy about the black Hebrew Israelites, bro. I was like, it doesn't make sense. It don't make sense.
Damn. Yeah, right on. I mean, because
I can show you clear laws in the Torah where the Most High says I'll put it like this: the only nation, according to Torah, the first 5 books, that the Most High commanded not to mix, have any dealings with these people or anything like that, were who? It wasn't the white man. It wasn't the Asian man. It wasn't the Arab man. It wasn't the East Indian man. It was the Canaanite, this Hamitic nation, these 7 black nations. That's according to Torah.
Man.
But then you guys claim that this is a black man's book, but when the only nation that the Most High said not to mix with or have any dealing with is these so-called black nation, you guys are out of your mind, bro. You're out of your mind. You're clearly out of your mind.
Man. Yeah, because it's like, I mean, if you're going to follow the Bible, accept it for what it is, know who you are in the Bible. Okay. Now I notice like people like Garfield and all of them, they don't even believe in the Bible, man. And that guy talk a whole bunch of nonsense. I mean, he talks as if he was there back then, like he's the sole authority on everything. And he tries to discredit what the Bible says and what the record says. And he's like, Garfield? Yeah, Garfield. He's lying to our people about what the records say. I mean, because it's nonsense to say, because he tried to say that the land of Ham only comprised of the Nile River region, which is nonsense. Okay, because when you look at the sole authority on this subject, which is Josephus, okay, Josephus said that the land of Ham was all of Africa west of the Nile River and to the south. I mean, to the south was included. So he is the sole authority on the land of Ham. And if you're going to say that, okay, now that makes no sense. If you're going to say that Ham only comprised of the Nile River, because the pyramids and the temples, all that, they sit on the land. They don't sit in the middle of the river. And the land is the land on the banks of the Nile River. That's connected to all of Africa. Nothing divides it. So what the hell are you talking about? You know, the pyramids don't sit in the middle of the river. That's why it's called the land of Ham. It's not called the river of Ham. I mean, the guy talks a bunch of nonsense, man. I mean, and they're the main ones who saying, and please, people, stop associating these guys with Kemet. They don't claim it. They say that they're just West African. You know, and they tell a fake history of West Africa. They don't use scholarship. They use slave mastership. Okay, because they want us to believe what the slave master wants us to believe. Yeah, and they're, because when you look into the earlier records of West Africa, they clearly say that they came from the East. You know, even when you go into the Arab historians, the early Arab historians of the 8th century AD, they say that the people, the founders of the Ghana Empire and all of West Africa were the sons of Cush and the sons of Ham from East Africa. It was a migration that took place from east to west. And that's the 8th century AD. But what these guys are talking about is coming from 18th century, 19th century, 200 years ago nonsense. Okay, not 19th century, 17th century AD. Not 19th century, 17th century BCE, 19th century, 17th century AD. Okay, what the slave master wants you to believe. Okay, when they try to take Ham and all that out of the rest of Africa and show you these fake maps. Okay, they don't show you the map of what Josephus is saying. They show you the map of what they want you to believe. All these maps about the land of Ham that you see, that they're all false. Okay, because the land of Ham it should apply to all Africa. If you're not going to apply it to all Africa, then don't apply it to none of Africa. Okay, because that's one continent. Okay, and these guys are, I mean, they're so all over the place. They make no sense. They will sit up there and say, well, yeah, the Hamites, the Berbers, and the Moors in Morocco, they're the Hamites, but not the Negroes. But do you realize that the Moors live 2,500 miles away from Egypt? I mean, 2,500 miles away to the west. Okay, but you're saying that the land of Ham only comprised to the area near Egypt? You're not making any sense. You guys are all over the place, man. You guys don't respect me. You don't respect truth. That's why some of these other guys don't go on the panels, man, because they talk nonsense. I mean, we can prove that we are the Hamites and Egyptians just by geography and genealogy alone. We don't have to show a migration. See, the Israelites, in order for them to prove Israelites in West Africa, they have to show a migration of Israelites coming into West Africa according to the Bible, and they can't do it. They can't do it. That's why they're losing. That's why they're getting their butt. That's why they're getting their butts kicked. But yeah, that's why they're getting their asses kicked. Okay, their butts kicked, and they're all over the place because they continue to struggle with this lie. It's easier to tell the truth. That's why they're struggling, because they trying to latch onto this lie, and they're struggling. They're all over the place. That's why they all roped up in a corner, and they're not listening to me. And I try to tell them, you know, it's simple. Okay, the land of Shim. Okay, the land of Shim stretches from Canaan, from Turkey, all the way to the Tigris Euphrates. Okay, the Tigris Euphrates, that's the area of Ashur, Assyria, Babylon. Okay, everything east of the Tigris River is Elam. Okay, everything west of the Nile River is Foot. Okay, Foot. Okay, the Hamites of Foot in Lubim or Libya. Okay, and then you had migrations of Egyptians and Canaanites coming here. So we can pretty much lay claim to all four sons, descendants of Ham, because they all some migrated. They all migrated into the area, and that's the sole reason why you became enslaved, because of that. Okay, and if that's the real deal, then hey, deal with it. Okay, accept it. But find a solution. But that way you know the truth. It's all about the truth. See, some of you Negroes, you wanna be on the winning side. You don't want to be on the right side. You want to be on the winning side. I don't want to be on the winning side. I want to be on the right side. I want to be on the side of truth. Okay. And man, I mean, and you guys, you're going to continue to struggle. You're going to continue to lose your arguments because this is something you cannot prove. Okay. I mean, these people, they're lying about your history. Okay. The Arabs in North Africa. Okay. They're claiming now. Okay. Back in the days, they were telling the truth. They were telling the truth about themselves. I mean, they saw themselves as the Shemites, and even when you look at the Coptics, read this historian John of Nico or John of Nikuyu. He's a Coptic who lived in Egypt before the Arab invasion, and he said the Copts were the descendants of the Holy Fathers. They were Shemites. They did not claim to be descendants of Pharaoh and the Hamites. They saw them as pagans and demons. Okay, we know that the Copts were the people who were in Egypt before the Arabs. Okay, and the Arabs make up 90% of the population. Okay, they're not the Hamites. They're not the Egyptians. They are Shemites and Arabs in Egypt. That's what they are. Okay, and according to Herodotus, okay, the earliest physical description of the Egyptians were black. Okay, so if you're living in Egypt and you're not black, you're not Egyptian. You're black living in Egypt, you're Egyptian. Okay, but if you're not black, you're living in Egypt, you're a Semite or either or Japhetic or a descendant of a Roman, a Greek, or some European. Okay, and that's just the truth of the matter. I mean, you guys got to get real, man. I mean, this group that was supposed to have go to Egypt. Okay, some of them believe that they are descendants of the ancient Egyptians, but the way they try to prove it is ridiculous. I mean, I never seen such poor scholarship before in my life. They're using modern day records to prove, or oral history from modern day people who living in the modern day to prove their points. You can't do that. Okay, I mean, you want to sit up here and say, well, yeah, this African historian say this, and then this African tribe say this, but yeah, I mean, but that's I want to see what their ancestors say. I want to see what their great grandfathers said about their origins. Why we got to hear from him? You know, they living in the modern day just like us. You know, anything they say is no different from what we say. You guys have no respect for ancient history and ancient records. I mean, all you guys, man, you're just going around and making up your own stuff, and you're believing in the lies, in the fake history of the white slave master. Okay, you want our people to believe what the slave master wants us to believe. That's why you're going around talking about, oh, we just West African, or we're not Egyptians, we're not Hamites. Don't know what the hell they're talking about. Okay, if you're going to make a claim, okay, your claim has to be based on a source. You can't just make up stuff out of your own imagination. And that's how I get them all the time, Jose. I tell them, as soon as they say it, I said, what is your source? If you come show me what some white man say, I said, nope, that's not a source. That's just the opinion of some white man, of some white scholar who wasn't there, who wasn't nowhere near there 2,000, 1,000 years ago. He just made it up out of his own imagination. What is your source? If you're going to make a claim, your claim has to be based on the source. Whether if it's Cush, Hamite, Ham, Mizraim, Canaan in the Bible, whether if it's Ethiopian, Egyptian, Libyan, Moors in the records of the ancient Greeks, or whether if it's Kimite, Cushite, Amitian in the ancient Medu Neter or ancient records of Egypt, your claim has to be based on a source. Okay? And if you're not going to base it on any source, then don't even acknowledge it at all. But don't sit up here and make up pseudo history and try to put it as truth. It's not truth. It comes from your own imagination. And if you're reading a book from a scholar, you have to show where he got it from. Because if you can't show where he got it from, then it's coming from his own imagination. That's why you guys you follow these white racists too much, and they got you looking like fools. You have no respect for history. Everything I say is based on ancient historical records, original history. Nothing I say is based on my own imagination. It is what it is. Okay, what I say is based on history, and you guys, you are violating. You are in violation. I would say, man, like most of history today that's being taught is I say at least 90% of it is made up. It could be more than that. I mean, because I watch these guys on Sonata TV, man, and they trying to tell the history of West Africa, and they using all these 18th century, 19th century, what this white man said, what this white man. I'm just sitting up there like, what the hell is this nigga talking about? Just lying to our people. Have no type of foundation at all. Man, like, I mean, you guys are so stuck in the modern world. You have no idea about the ancient world. That's why you just sit up there and talk your nonsense. If you don't know what you're talking about, just shut up. Okay? But don't sit up there and talk your nonsense all day, and the nonsense you're talking about, it's not derived from anything. But you're just making it up. And you try to make the intelligent man, the learned man, okay, the historian, the one who knows, you try to make us look like fools. You try to make it seem like we don't know what we're talking about. But as soon as we ask you that question, what is your source? You go to stuttering and mumbling. Okay? And that's why we can't let these guys get away with their nonsense. Okay? Because you can talk all that nonsense you want, but as soon as I ask you that question, you're going to stop. Everything going to stop. Because you knew you made it up in the first place. And you knew you didn't know what the hell you was talking about in the first place. Man, you guys have no respect for ancient records and history. I mean, our identity is there. But the only problem is it's being lied about by those who are trying to steal it. The white man, okay, the white European, you see it all in the movies. Exodus, Gods and Kings. Okay, Gods of Egypt, 10 Commandments. He's trying to steal your history, trying to steal your glory. Okay, the Arabs in North Africa, they're in your land, stealing your history. They already stole your land. And you guys, you act like you're scared to speak up. You're scared to tell the truth. And you believe in this DNA nonsense. Do you know that the purpose of DNA? The purpose of DNA was to discredit real history. History that was around long before this DNA and genetics nonsense came around. Okay, even archaeology, written history, written records was around even before archaeology. Archaeology came before DNA and genetics. And if you want to believe in DNA, hey, I'm not going to bash you for that. You know, you can do what you want to do, but don't try to mix it with ancient history and try to make it seem as if DNA is the authority, because you already violated when you do that. But that's what it was made for. The white man is using DNA to alter history, put itself in a history that he don't belong in. And that's why you keep hearing these crazy bogus DNA studies of ancient Egyptians being Eurasians and Middle Easterners. And that's not the last. You're going to hear more. Okay, but you don't have to accept it. You don't need it. It's BS. I mean, I always thought DNA was BS. There's no way. I mean, there's nothing you can say to me to convince me that some damn spit or some saliva is going to tell me who I am. And to make it even worse, you Negroes want to bring up DNA studies done on dead people. Okay, when you're dealing with dead people, you're not even dealing with some spit. You're dealing with some crust. Okay, with some crust. Ain't no spit on saliva on dead people. And if they do find some DNA on dead people, how do we know who DNA that is? That could be the DNA of the person who was standing over the body. And that's probably why the DNA is coming back Caucasian or Middle Eastern, because that DNA is probably not even the DNA of the mummy or the dead person you're talking about. I mean, this is silly. But because you guys don't want to read, you don't want to study, but you want to believe in these fake DNA studies, and you're not even a geneticist, and you don't even understand the DNA, but you're just talking nonsense. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, and I've been telling the truth for the longest about even about what the English translations say. You know, but I stepped up to a whole nother level. You know, I'm translating what the original language say now. I'm learning the language. And a lot of these texts is when you get into the original language, you know, a lot of the English translation, a lot of false interpolations were added. A lot of the English translation don't even say what the original Greek text and ancient Egyptian and Hebrew text say. And that's the importance of learning the language. And I'm going to do videos on that, but I'm going to start charging for that. I mean, I teach what the English translations say for free. Okay, but when I get off into this different language, then, hey, y'all going to have to support me. You know, but yeah, this is crazy, man. We have a serious identity crisis going on here. The Arab in North Africa want to be the Hamites. The Negro in America, the Black American in America want to be the Shemite, want to be the Israelite. So what? What you guys you just going to exchange identities? Well, I want to be you. Hey, you can have my identity. Let's just make an even trade, huh? Nonsense. You Negroes are fraudulent and as pseudo and as fake as it gets. Okay? When I was over there at FOPI, you guys didn't listen to me. You didn't respect me. You couldn't understand what I was saying because you couldn't comprehend what I was saying because your education is not that high. Okay? You guys sit up there and lie your butts off all day. You sit up there and play the go along, get along game and agree with each other all day. As soon as I come on there and challenge your nonsense, as soon as I come on there and challenge your lies and debunk your lies, okay, then you want to disrespect me. Okay? And they had this guy, Yehuda or whatever his name is, he was on there teaching and about we the Jews and all. He was lying his butt off. And nobody checked him. He had a Negro on there saying, our ancestors come from Spain. And I was the only one who checked him. Negro said, we come from Spain. Our chocolate, jet black, kinky hair ancestors came from Spain. Negro, have you lost your mind? I mean, saying anything, making up pseudo history, not going by the records. You know, and that's why I'm at war with these guys, because I go by the records. without the records, you might as well just don't believe in it at all. Just be done with it. Just say, oh man, the hell with history, man. But don't sit up here and lie. Because that's what you're doing. You're lying. And that's why we're on your ass. Because you've been lying. Some of you guys should be banned from teaching. Okay? Learn history. Read a text. Okay? When you read a text, even especially a primary source, straight from the eyewitness of the ancient writer, okay, that is a privilege to be able to learn that. Okay, but you Negroes, you use and abuse this privilege by twisting it and lying about it. You know, it's not that hard. Just look on the map. We know who we are in the Bible. We're not the Israelites. We're not the Shemites. And that's why you Negroes are still on the bottom. That's why no one respects you. Because you're an enemy of the truth. You hate the truth. You love this fake shit. Okay? And I've been asked many times, man, to go on Sonetta TV. I never went. Why? Because I refuse to be associated with fakes and frauds. It is embarrassing. And I'm not going to do it. And if Sonetta clean house and get some real scholars in there and get some real brothers in there who claim to be Kemetic, who claim the ancient Egyptian lineage and ancestry, and then I will consider going on there. But until then, no way. Okay? I'm not going on there with all those fake Negroes talking about ancient Kemet, but you're not, and you're African, and you're not claiming your true ancestors, but you're going to allow some Arabs and some fake European to steal your history? Don't you know that the monuments and all the temples in Egypt are facing extinction? Don't you know that the population in Egypt is almost 100 million? It's over 100 million. 90% Arabs and 10% Greek and Roman Copts. Okay? And as high as the population get, the more the culture, the history, the temples, the ruins, all that is going to disappear. Because they're going to have to make room for the foreign invaders or the Arab invaders in Egypt. Okay? But you Negroes, you want to latch on to this Hebrew Israelite line. It's like, I'm alone in this, Jose. I am alone in this. Okay? You got the Hebrew Israelites. They believe in the Bible. They claim to believe in the Bible. They claim to believe in history. But they're claiming the wrong people. They want to be the Israelite. They don't want to be themselves. They don't want to be the Hamite. They don't want to be their true ancestors. You got these Negroes on the Kemetic side who say that they don't believe in the Bible at all, but they still lie about the Bible. If you don't believe in the Bible, at least you can tell the truth about it. I know it's easy for you to lie about the Bible because you don't believe in it. You know, and this is pathetic. You know, and but yeah, this is what I see, man. And when we confront these guys, man, it's a whole different story. You know, these guys go to stuttering and mumbling because they know they've been lying.
You know, at the end of the day, like I always told you, like I always taught that the Bible is an anti-black man's book. And the thing is that the way I figure to beat them is just to beat them in their own logic. Because you know, you have certain Black Hebrew Israelites that believe that the people of Japheth are the so-called Europeans, right? I know you probably heard that one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so even according to the Bible, you really don't see the Most High punishing that many nations for the people of Japheth. In fact, many Hebrew Israelites teach that Japheth are the only Gentiles according to the scripture, according to Genesis chapter 10, right? But then they'll tell you that the people in the New Testament who are the Gentiles are who? The people of Japheth. So let me get this straight. So your book is teaching that the white man is now receiving all this salvation according to the New Testament, according to your doctrine, right? But yet, again, what you have Torah that's teaching against black civilizations, and not even that, cursing a black civilization. Like, you have to show them stuff like this. Like, I'll give you an example, right? This is the Most High cursing Egypt. This is a curse. And you have to show these individuals. Well, why is it that the Most High is cursing a black nation? Show me where the Most High cursed a nation from Japheth, a so-called white man. Where's his curse at? Where's his curse at? Right? So let's read. So I'm saying, this is what I keep telling them, like, bro. And like I said, I'm part black. And when I read these scriptures, it's like, damn, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, this is some fucked up shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like how do you, as you being a black man, do not take offense to this shit? Like, look what he's saying right here. Look what the most, according to the God of Israel, is saying here about a black nation, right? This is Ezekiel 29, right? And it says, in the 10th year, and in the 10th month, and in the 12th day of the month, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, and prophesy against him and against all Egypt. Speak and say and saith the Lord of God, Behold, I am against thee, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, the great dragon that lieth in the midst of the rivers, which he said, My river is my own, and I have made it for myself. But I will put hooks in thy jaws, and I will cause the fish of the river to stick unto thy scales, and I will bring thee up out of the midst of the rivers, and all the fish of thy rivers shall stick onto thy scales. And I will leave thee thrown into the wilderness, thee all the fish of thy rivers. Thou shalt fall upon the fields, and thou shalt not be brought together nor gathered. I have given thee for a meat to the beasts of the field and to the fowls of the heaven. And all the inhabitants of Egypt shall know that I am the Lord, because they have been a staff of reed to the house of Israel. When they took hold of thee by the hand, and didst break and render all thy shoulders, and when they leaned upon me, thou breakest, and madest all their lions to be at stand. Therefore, thus said God, Behold, I will bring a sword upon thee, and cut off the man and the beast out of thee. And the land of Egypt shall be desolate, a waste, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord, because he hath said it. Thy river is mine, and I have made it. Behold, therefore, I am against thee. So again, who is against the Egyptians? The Most High. And against thy river. And I will make the land of Egypt utterly waste and desolate, from the towers of the Syene even unto the borders of Ethiopia. Nor foot of man shall pass through it, nor foot of beast shall pass through it, neither shall it be inhabited 40 years. And I will make the land of Egypt desolate in the midst of the countries that are desolate, and the cities among the cities that are laid waste shall be desolate 40 years. And I will scatter the Egyptians among the nations, and will disperse them through the countries. Yet, thus said the Lord God, at the end of the 40 years, I will gather the Egyptians from the people, whether they were scattered. And look what it says here, people. And I will bring again the captivity of Egypt, and I will cause them to return to the land of Pathros and the land of their inhabitation, and there shall be a base kingdom.
Yeah.
So what did the Most High just curse them to be?
A base kingdom. Yeah.
A base kingdom, never to rise again, bro. So
Yeah.
is that not a curse?
Yeah, and that goes to show you that the descendants of, and that fits perfectly with the slaves that were taken from Africa, because that show you that the of the Egyptians became poor and weak. You know, and you know, and they can't be a people of power and status. You know, so that goes to show you. You know, and we know the people who were enslaved in Africa were the poor and weak people. You know, the people who got preyed on. You know, even if they did have a civilization, you know, another African nation brought them down and made them a poor, weak, and an enslaved nation. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And the most interesting part about that, okay, because in the verse 30, Ezekiel 30 in chapter 23, you read the saints, you hear of the Egyptians going to be scattered again. You know, because you know, there were many during the time. You know, there were many wars taking place with the Egyptians against the Persians and the Assyrians, and at the time the Egyptians will be driven south. They will be driven south, and then they will come back from the south to fight a war against the Persians or the Assyrians. You know, and but we know in Ezekiel 30 and 23 that they were scattered again. You know, he mentions that after Ezekiel 29, and I had a debate with someone on this, and he told me, well, how could this be referring to Egypt when we know in history Egypt was never desolate or was never made a desolate land? But when you read the whole thing in context, it is saying, when you read the first part, it was saying that the Egyptians will be removed from the Nile River and they will be thrown into the wilderness. So you have to keep it in this context, okay? And it's saying, you know, that they will be thrown into the wilderness. They will be thrown into the desert. They will be removed from the Nile River. So, and I know what text they're referring to, because we have to stay in the contemporary time. You know, during the time of Ezekiel, you know, the main authority and the historian who was right is who? Herodotus, 450 BCE. Okay, only 100 years after Ezekiel's time. Okay, and we know Herodotus said that Egypt was inhabited. Egypt was prosperous. Okay, during this time, what it's talking about. But guess what land he said was desolate? He was talking about the southern interior of the Sahara Desert. He called that a desolate land. Okay, a desolate land full of wild beasts. And you know, Ezekiel 29 speaks of wild beasts. And, you know, and Herodotus says that the southern part of Libya, to the west of the Nile, okay, was the desolate land. But to make it even more interesting, inhabitants of this desolate land he called Ethiopians, our ancestors. So if you want to try to make sense out of it in a historical manner, okay, then that's the best way to put it. You know, okay, because he is talking about a land. Maybe he's not referring to the Nile River, but he's talking about lands connected to the Nile. I mean, or land that's away from the Nile River, which is the desert. Because we know that the Nile River flows through the desert as well. But he's talking about the people in the desert to the west of the Nile River. And that is the land that was known as a desolate land. And most of that land is still desolate today. You know, and he's talking about the deep southern interior of the desert near the Sahel, because you had the oases in the middle of the desert. The oases was inhabited, you know, but you had the southern part of the desert south of the oasis. That is the uninhabited or the desolate land he's talking about. Okay, but he calls the people Ethiopians. You know, So even if you believe that Egypt was not desolate, that is the land in Africa that was desolate. I mean, yeah, desolate and barely inhabited. But the inhabitants are still named, because you have some parts of the Sahara Desert that's not inhabited. You have some parts of the Sahara Desert that is inhabited. But that is how I see it. I see it as Ezekiel is talking that, or kicked out of the Nile and be scattered, dispersed and scattered through the Sahara Desert, the desolate land, the wilderness. You keep it in this whole context, that's what it's talking about. And we know that the most famous desert in Africa is the Western Sahara, the desert to the west. Okay, not the desert to the east, because there's hardly no land to the east of the Nile River. Going to like under the large Sahara Desert to the west. And when you keep it in context, a lot of this, he lets you know that the people of Ammon, the worshippers of Ammon, okay, which he also mentions in Ezekiel, they dwelt in the Sahara Desert. Okay, that's where they fled to. Okay, the people of the West. You guys always want to talk about West Africa. Well, Egyptians in West Africa, well, the Greek word used for west is Hespedi, west of the Nile River. Libya, it's to the west. And he's not referring to the part of Libya near Egypt. He's talking about all of Africa to the west. Lets you know that from Egypt all the way to the Atlas Mountains, the Pillars of Hercules, and the Atlantic Ocean. That's what he's talking about. Okay, you guys are numero uno in this story, and you're allowing these white racists, these lion coon Negroes, and these fake Arab North Africans to take you out the picture. Okay? And, and Jose made a good point. Why is the Bible cursing all these Hamite nations in Ezekiel? I never really thought about it, and I have to do more research on that as well, because that's a good point. And it's talking about us. That's who it's talking about. When it says they scattered and dispersed, that's talking about the rest of Africa, to the west of Egypt, to the south of Egypt, southwest of Egypt. And that's how Africa is. You got the oases in the desert. You got all these scattered inhabitations. That that's what it's talking about. I mean, Egypt during this time was over. It was game over. The Persians conquered Egypt. The Assyrians conquered Egypt. The Greeks conquered Egypt. But you Negroes want to act like they're still there, like nothing didn't happen. Like when the Persians invaded Egypt, the pharaohs just stayed there. So, just take the land. We can be cool. No. When the Persians and Assyrians invaded Egypt, the pharaohs went to battle with them, and they lost the battle. When they lost the battle, they fled. They would have been enslaved, death, because that's how the kings of Assyria and Persia were. When they catch again, So, and that's why they left. That's why you Negroes sit up here and talk this nonsense, but you don't know history. You know a lot about DNA, but you know nothing about history. You Negroes can't even answer the simple question as if I ask you the question, where does the Nile River originate at? You can't even answer that. Who was the first pharaoh of Egypt? You can't answer that. Who was the last pharaoh of Egypt? You can't answer that. Okay, but you're talking all this garbage and nonsense like you know it all. But as soon as we ask you those questions, damn Egypt, never read a page of history in your life. But you didn't answer. But you just know we ain't no Egyptians. That's all I hear. That's all I hear from HOK. We ain't no damn Egyptians. That's all I hear from you silly, dumb, ignorant Negroes. All you do is hate on Egypt. I mean, that's one thing you Negroes in the fake Kemetic community have in common with the Hebrew Israelites. You both hate Egypt. But you claim to be so African and so proud to be African. But you don't want to claim your glory. You don't want to claim your greatness. This is why history is important. In the Bible, history agrees with a lot of the Bible. Because history says exactly what Ezekiel 20. Okay, but during 343 BCE, the last pharaoh. Okay, I know his name, but okay, but that's something you got to find yourself. Okay, I'm gonna say it anyway. Nectanebo II. Okay, so you Negroes just learned something. The last pharaoh of Egypt was Nectanebo II. And it was during his time that the Persians invaded Egypt. The Persians defeated Egypt, and Nectanebo II fled where? He fled south into the interior of Africa, into Sudan, Ethiopia, our ancestors. Okay, and after that, the Egyptians took back Egypt no more. It was no more Egypt. They never took back Egypt. It took Alexander the Macedonian. Alexander the so-called great. I like to call Alexander the fake. Okay, but Alexander the so-called great, it took him to defeat the Persians and liberate the Egyptians from the Persians, because the Egyptians, there were no more Egyptians in Egypt to defeat the Persians. That's why they couldn't fight them, because there were hardly any Egyptians. So that shows you that the Egyptians were long gone. If the Egyptians were there, they would have took back Egypt. But they had no more power to take back Egypt. Why? Because there were no more Egyptians. They all followed the Pharaoh. The Pharaoh is the heart of Egypt. There is no Egypt without the Pharaoh. You know, and I know the truth to all this. I know what the original language says. I can break it down to you better than anyone else. Okay? And that is what it is. They were long gone. Alexander came in there, they were long gone. When Julius Caesar came into Egypt, the Egyptians were long gone. When the Arabs came into Egypt, they were long gone. Okay? So don't you dare sit up there and say that the modern Egyptians are descendants of the pharaohs. That is the biggest lie ever told. The modern Egyptians are the descendants of the Egyptians who were there 200, 300 years ago. The Arab Egyptians, the Turk Egyptians. That's their real Egyptians, not the pharaohs and the real Egyptians. Okay? I study the population of Egypt. Don't you know when Napoleon Bonaparte, when he invaded Egypt, don't you know the population was only at 3 million? But back in ancient times, the population was 7 million. The population dropped. Okay? And it's not until recently that the population grew. When all these invaders from Turkey and the Middle East came in. That's when the population grew. You Negroes are dumb as it gets. Someone who moved into Egypt 50 years ago, 100 years ago, from Syria or Turkey, can move into Egypt, live in Egypt, and a dumb Negro like you gonna say that's the true Egyptian, knowing good and well that person came from the Middle East or Iran or somewhere, but a dumb Negro like you is calling him the true Egyptian. And this lying, racist, white cracker trying to take you out of the picture and give credit to some foreigner living in Egypt. The history of Egypt is a long history. You have to read. You have to study. And if you don't do that, you're not going to know what the hell you're talking about. And I can sit up here and allow you to talk all the garbage you want. But you know what I'm waiting for? I'm waiting for you to get quiet so I can answer those questions that I know you can't answer. History of Egypt is a long history of Egypt. It's so deep that the people in modern day Egypt, they can't even lay claim to be descendants of the Roman Egypt. That's how long and stressed out it is. They can't even claim to be descendants of the Roman Egyptians or the Greco-Roman pharaohs or Ptolemies. And they can barely lay claim to the years ago. A lot of these people, a lot of the ancestors of these people just arrived in Egypt 100, 200, 300 years ago. But we got dumb Negroes like you saying that people still migrating there now. But you're gonna have you dumb Negroes saying that's the true Egyptian. Dumb, ignorant, childlike, inferior-minded Negroes like Chief X, okay, who don't have a lick of bass in his voice, who sounds like a nagging woman, will sit up there and say that these foreigners who just arrived in Egypt last year will say that that's the true Egyptian. You dumb nigger. Chief X, you are a low-life scum Negro. And I called you out and you ran like a little coward. You a coward. You have no knowledge. I'll destroy you in a debate. Just talking nonsense. Have to know the history of Egypt to know who is who. The true descendants of the pharaohs are in sub-Saharan Africa. Okay? We know where they went. It's documented. The people there today, they're descendants of all mixed race foreigners. That's all they are. They're not the true Egyptians. Okay? And you Negroes are fools for believing an idiot like Chief X. And this other guy, this other fraud named Ngozi, a fake genetics, who's trying to steal credit for defeating 7 a liar, phony, trying to steal credit for what I did. That goes to show you what kind of Negro he is. He's a low-life fraud. Okay? All you Negroes in the Rock Squad, if you sit up there saying F-U-C-K Egypt, then lose the name. Lose the name Amun Ra. Lose the name Ankh. I've been hearing you talking your nonsense. You guys are looking like idiots out here. That's why I never come on your panels. Because I refuse to be associated with fakers and frauds. No, it's embarrassing. I don't want to be associated with you. I don't want to take a picture with you. You're the worst of the worst. And man, but I'm about to take off, brother. I don't have long. Yeah, so I got a movie night with my sons and kids, so they want to watch a movie. But I mean that is what it is, man. You guys got to start getting real. You got to start telling the truth and accepting what these records say, or otherwise, just leave it alone. It's not for you. You have no integrity. I mean, it's
here's more proof how the Bible is an anti-black man's book. This is in the book of Jubilees in your Torah, people, in your Dead Sea Scrolls, right? This is Jubilees chapter 22, verse 20 and 21. And it reads this. It says, "Be thou ware, my son Jacob, of taking a wife from any seed of the daughters of Canaan. For all of his seed is to be rooted out of the earth.
Wow.
For owing to the transgressions of Ham, Canaan erred, and all of his seed shall be destroyed from off the earth, and all the residue thereof, and none springing from him shall be saved on the day of judgment."
Ooh, wow. Oh man, if that ain't proof of that the Bible is anti-black, it's anti-African, I don't know what it is, man. Yeah, you put the nip in the bud right there, man.
You see that? They're according to the Torah, they're the only nation that will not receive salvation on the day of judgment.
Wow. Man.
But I don't see anything about no white man here, about no Asian, about no Arab. I don't read anything about them here. But this Hamitic nation is the only one cursed that none of his seed is going to be saved on the day of judgment. Man, I don't know, man.
Man,
it is what it is, man. Like I said, scriptures like this rub me the wrong way.
yeah, man. Yeah, I mean that goes to show, man, that we're not the people of the book, man. We are, man. We have to accept it. But that doesn't mean we have to be slaves. If it's saying that Canaan shall be slaves amongst Japheth and amongst Shim, then get the hell away from Japheth and Shim. Let's get our own land. And that's the solution to that. I mean, get our own land, be separate. When the Carthaginians, okay, who are also descendants of Canaanites, okay, before they came into contact with the Romans, they were a prosperous empire. But who destroyed them and damn near wiped them out of existence? The Romans, the descendants of Japheth. But yeah, I mean, man, that's yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, man, yeah, that's something right there, man. But yeah, I mean, and the Bible says, that the people of West Africa are the descendants of him. If you follow the Bible, listen to the Bible when it says that. Mizrahim, Ham, Foot, those are our ancestors. And especially, me personally, I put history as my first love. Okay. And if anything, if the Bible, if anything in the Bible corresponds with history, then I rock with that, and but yeah, I mean, I say, prove it. You prove it historically and biblically. You got something. But these guys, the Hebrew Israelites, they can't prove that they're Israelites historically or biblically. They can't even show. I mean, they can't even show that the Israelites even entered the desert to the west of the Nile River. They can't even show that in the Bible. That lets you know that the Israelites, even when they came into Africa, they never left the Nile River. They dwelt along the Nile River. They never went west into West Africa from the Nile River. The Bible does say nothing of them leaving the Nile River. When they came in Egypt, they stayed in Egypt. But you Negroes want to try to make it seem like, well, Egypt is West Africa. No, it's not. Egypt is Northeast Africa. Stop it. Okay. When you explain in Africa, you have to be more. Yeah, when you explain in Africa, you have to be more specific. Okay. You can't say, well, just because they came to Egypt, that means all Africa. No, you're lying. Okay. But yeah, brother, it was a good building with you. I just wanted to speak my mind, man, because I'm just disgusted about what I'm seeing, man, and I'm seeing the people who the truth seekers are being disrespected, and these guys, these liars, man, are talking nonsense, and it's pathetic, man. And keep up the good work, man, and keep the pressure on these liars, man. Because that's what I've been doing, and that's what I'm always gonna do. But I wake my people up to the truth, and it is what it is, man. You're telling the truth, man. Trying to let these Negroes know, they have nothing to do with Israel. And some of you Negroes may ask me, well, why you attacking Israel, man? Why are you attacking the Israelites? Because it interferes. It's a major interference for people knowing who we really are. It is a problem. It is a major problem. Okay? Like if you were in jail, okay, why you can't get out of jail? Because the bars around the cell and the walls around the cell is stopping you from getting out. That's the same thing with this Hebrew Israelite nonsense. It's stopping our people from knowing who we are. And that's why we want to put it into it. And that's why we want our people to know the truth. We want the truth to be acknowledged and accepted. Okay? And this Hebrew Israelite lie is an interference. It's a problem. And that's why we are attacking. Because as soon as you let it go, then you will start accepting the truth. Then you will start hearing us out. But until then, continue to live a lie. Okay, continue to live a lie. But yeah, brother, that's all I want to say, brother. Jose, peace out, brother. It's been good building with you. And I actually learned something from you. I'm gonna do more research on that verse you put out as well, man. But yeah, definitely, man. That's why discussions and debates are good, man, because you learn something. You're getting the truth out, you exposing lies, and hey, man, and that's all good, But yeah, peace, brother. I'm out if you can hear me. But I'm gonna.
Yeah. You have a good night, man.
Yeah, yes, indeed, man. But yeah, if I ever come back next time, maybe I can show some sources or whatever. But yeah, man,
Yeah, no doubt.
yeah, I'll be tuning in, listening, but yeah, I just wanted to speak my piece. But yeah,
No problem, man.
yes, peace out, brother, and hopes up.
All right, man. Shalom.
Peace.
Yeah, brothers and sisters, as you see, like I said, there are plenty of people that agree with us, what I'm saying? They know the truth, that what we're speaking is the truth. What I'm saying? Other brothers like him, brothers like Lex Vortex, what I'm saying? You got other brothers out there that just know that what we're saying is just facts, you know? It just is what it is, what I'm saying? And just like the brother said, is like if African Americans go back and realize who they are, find their true power that resonates with them, what I'm saying, you can become a powerful people once again, what I'm saying? You just gotta go back to your roots and your God. Because that's all it is. People don't understand with the Bible, a lot of things about the Bible, or just with any book, or just is a book of spells, what I'm saying? Because everything that we say, we bring into existence. We make these things happen. That's how powerful words are. Our words send out vibrations, you know? So yes, if you speak on, what I'm saying, if you get on one frequency with you and your power, you can become, you and your people can become powerful. You know what I'm saying? And that's the whole thing about Israel, right? Because if you notice, it wasn't through the scriptures that the Israel were the strongest and smartest and all this other stuff. No, it was always through Yahweh's who gave them strength to go defeat their enemies. You know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? There was nothing special. So that's another argument I really don't get with the Black Hebrew Israelites, how they'll keep saying, oh, we're stronger, we're faster, we're this and that. Well, I'm like, well, all those characteristics that you're claiming is not what the scriptures are saying how Israel is. You know what I'm saying? Israel, you know what I'm saying? If when Israel went to go to conquer the land of Canaan and sent the spies, and the spies came back, what did the spies say? Man, this nation, they're stronger, they're mightier than we. You know what I'm saying? Meaning they're more numerous and they're actually physically more stronger. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get it. I don't you guys I'm saying, don't a lot of you Black Hebrew Israelites claim that y'all are the strongest and the fighters and everything like that. So wouldn't it be making sense that you would be a Hamite? You know what I'm saying? But again, they don't think about stuff like that. David, Goliath, you know what I'm saying? How the Israelites said they look like grasshoppers compared to the Hamites. Come on, man. Hey, let's stop it, bro. The Israelites were not known to be like a tall, strong nation and stuff like that. They just weren't. But they were a warrior nation. Don't get that twisted. You know what I'm saying? They were a warrior nation, but they weren't known to be like tall and like big and strong and stuff like that, man. It's like, come on, man, let's stop that nonsense, man. But yeah, like I said, there's brothers out there who know the truth. Guess I'm gonna just say shalom because, like I said, later on this week I'll probably drop a class. It's the second part to the Gentile talk. See if we'll talk about if whether Ruth Israelite or Moabite, and then bring out some more points about Gentiles in the New Testament being Northern Kingdom, right? And with that, I'm gonna say shalom. Love you all. You have a good night.